Hi there. I'm going to take you on a quick drive in my 2006 E46 BMW M3. This car has a 3.2 liter straight six, internally known as the S54. Makes about 333 horsepower, about 300 foot-pounds of torque, if I'm not mistaken. This is a 6-speed manual car, not the sequential manual gearbox. This is a little clunkier and less popular. Overall, it's a great driving car, fantastic chassis balance, fantastic brakes on this car. Most of the power is up above 5,500, so kind of not a lot going on. Down at the lower RPMs, you really have to wind it out. But when it sounds like that, and the power so linear, who could really mind? Really well balanced mid corner and on exit. Ooh, I love these brakes. The competition package brings you a quicker steering ratio, these upgraded M3 CSL brakes. You get some cosmetic differences as well. This Alcantara wheel, you know, some of this cube trim here. You get this competition button that gives you a little bit more slip than the stability control full on, but without you having to turn it all the way off, which is a nice feature. You get the 19-inch wheels based on the M3 CSL wheels, which are really great looking. I think this car would actually handle maybe a little better with an 18-inch wheel actually, but you know, the 19s look really nice, so can't complain there. As an ownership experience, it's been super reliable. Parts are easy to find. There's a huge enthusiast community, so it's easy to figure out how to fix things yourself, or find parts, or figure out what the best fluids, etc. are. These guys look like they want me to go around them, but I don't really want to do that. I wish they would let me by. I guess it's tougher on a motorcycle. Overall, great car. I would say the steering feel is really nice. It weights up nicely. You get a lot of feedback without it being twitchy, and especially with this quicker rack. Oh, it's really nice. The balance on turn in, mid corner, exit, just really nice. One of my favorite things about this car is the steering. Chassis balance really nice. Brake feel really great. You know, it's very linear. Pedals, high and tight, but allows you to modulate really easily. The only downside of this car really is the stock shifter is, very long and, a little bit vague by modern standards. And this car, I added a 335D short shift lever. It's just a direct swap from the 335D. It gives you a little bit shorter throw, but you still have the stock feel, which is a little rubbery. You could go all the way and add a full short shift kit, which would probably go a long way towards solving that, but for me this does the trick. What else can I say about this car? Oh, everybody's being really polite today. It's been fairly reliable. When I bought the car, it did have a couple issues. Cars of this age tend to start having problems, at about 10 years old, so I had to replace the throttle position sensor, the brake pressure sensor. Both I was able to find, pretty cheap and do myself. Also, just some of the interior things needed some tweaking. I replaced the A and C pillars covers just because they were starting to sag. I replaced this trim here that was starting to get worn out. I replaced the Alcantara, which was already starting to get worn out after only 40,000 miles. What else? I think that's really about it. Other than that, just basic maintenance, fluids. An important thing to know about the S54 engine is that periodically it does need a valve adjustment, which can be very expensive. I think in the $1,500 to $2,000 range, depending on whether you're going to an Indy or the dealer. So something to keep in mind when you're looking at cars, if you're in the market for one of these, is has it had a valve adjustment before? Because that's a very expensive service. I had it done, and at the same time I actually had the Vanos system, the variable valve timing from BMW. I had it bulletproofed because these cars are periodically the tabs break on those, which can grenade the engine. So just for peace of mind, I had that done. Another common issue on this car is the rear subframe sometimes can tear. It's less common on these later cars, so I was not quite as worried about that. Maybe something I'll deal with in the future, but you know, it's not something that I'm particularly concerned about. Other than that, these cars are you know, super reliable as long as they have regular oil changes and fluid changes, and are pretty well taken care of. I imagine the next things to go are probably going to be the suspension bushings and the cooling system. But there's a nice aftermarket parts market for these E46 M3s, and never too crazy expensive to replace parts compared to some other cars. Like if you're coming from a modern Japanese car, that's fairly pricey, but compared to other BMWs, these cars are cheap to maintain. I mean, compared to modern BMWs or even 5 Series, 3 Series is really a great value. Anyway, that's my rundown of my 2006 E46 M3 competition package. I hope you enjoyed it.